Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be going over some logs. How do we look for the logs? Where do we find the logs? What can the logs tell us and help us with? Stay with me on this one. But before we go, let's check out a little update on how I'm progressing so far. You see this little rig here? This is an i7 that I pre-built. One of my recent videos, I showed all the hardware that I purchased for it. It's an i7, 4th generation, I believe, or maybe a little later. It is overclocked. So what it was supposed to be at 2.8 gigahertz is running on a 3.6, I believe, because of the overclock on the motherboard. Right now it's doing its own 2 plots, actually 3 plots, because I only have a 1 terabyte temp drive in there, so I can only populate 3 temps at a time. So that's that. And then the other thing I want to show you guys, the most current update with my main rig is we're at 114 plots farming with no Chia Coins. So let's jump onto the other machine so I can show you where these logs are. Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over Chia's logs, where we can find them and where are they located, what information that it can grab from it to help us going forward plot better and more efficiently. Because we all know that once we finish plotting in the GUI, that there is no additional information whatsoever in relations to the plots. It doesn't tell us when it completed, how long it took, and how much resources it used. So the only time we can actually see a log is when it's actually active. But most times, because it runs so long, you don't need to know what it's doing now because it hasn't completed yet. There's not enough information sufficient enough to tell you anything besides of when it actually started. Of course, the CPU and all the other stuff that we want to see after the fact, not when it actually started. The location that we're going to be looking at, location where you have the Chia installed. So in my case, it's the C drive. And within the C drive, it's located in the users directory, and the user that you were logged in at the time that installed the Chia application, and it's within the .chia mainnet and then plotter. These are the logs that are going to indicate when it started, the full information of the CPU, how much memory, and when each phase was timestamped so you can see what it looks like. So I'm going to pull this one up for example. You can indicate right away that this might have been a successful log because of the length of it. Now here we have the phase 1 and the start date and time and how much resources it took up. As we keep on going, and this looks like a familiar view for a lot of us when we're looking at the logs in the GUI when we click on it, but after this part there is another phase. And for most people, this phase seems to throw some of you guys off. It looks like it has failed because it doesn't look like the uniform logs up above like phase 1, because it's so staggered when we look at it. But this is going into phase 2, and it does take some time. Usually it hits around 31%, and this transition of phase 1 to phase 2 is right here. And you can see all this information, which is awesome because it tells you a lot. You can actually take this and run with it, meaning you can start putting in plots more efficiently based on how many threads you want to use and how much memory you want to allocate for it. And of course, once this is complete, it goes into phase 3. Phase 3 looks very similar to phase 1. So this is going in and deeper. And of course, you know, for me, it takes about a good, let's just see. We started here at 8:04 and 30 seconds on 2021. And then when we go to the bottom, we're going to see how long it actually takes. Now you can actually, predict what the time is for completing the actual plots now. So let's keep on scrolling until the very end. This is great information to know exactly how much RAM when you allocate it and how much it's actually using, how much CPU it's using. So I said it was 8:01 and then it finished at 16:45. So from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock, I'm giving rough estimates, but from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., 4:45 p.m. is how long it took me to finish one plot. This machine was running only one plot at a time. I did not overutilize this machine at all because this is my test machine, but you can see that information is very critical now. I can use that to say, okay, it only used up, this percentage of the CPU, on one plot. So maybe I can allocate another extra thread. Now, mind you, when I set up the plot, I used everything default, 2 threads, and I believe it was the 3600 megs of RAM. And we can see that really easily when we go back to the GUI, when we configure an actual plot and we show the events. So 3,390 megabytes of RAM, 2 threads. So these are all the defaults that I applied. Now you can readjust all these based on those log information to minimize the time it takes to finish a plot, potentially increasing your chances of getting a coin, getting into the farming process a little faster, because these plots, the logs information is there for a reason. Hopefully this helped you guys understand the logs a little better. You can utilize this to your advantage to helping you plot a little more efficiently. A lot of people did not know that these logs existed, and here they are. I want to thank you guys and appreciate you always being here. Please comment, like, and subscribe if you found this any way, shape, or form useful. Thank you guys again for being here. Bye.